Women of Heroclix coming right up. Mr. Clicks Flicks is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if you're in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has the winning role for all your gaming needs. You can visit them at LuckyDiceCafe.com or on their Facebook page using the link found in the description of this video. Hello, and see that? I can't even make it through the beginning. Oh my god. You should have seen me trying to do my read the first time for Lucky Dice. It took like 28 takes. Hello, and welcome back to Mr. Clicks Flicks. Like we said in the intro, today we are discussing the women of Heroclix, and who better to do that than some famous females from the Heroclix community. So, with us today are three women from the Heroclix community. Amber, why don't you start us off, introduce yourself, and talk about when you started Heroclix.
Okay. Hi, I am Amber Collins. I am known from the Married with Clicks channel. I apologize for my voice right now. I am fighting a cold, so this is going to be really interesting for you guys to hear. I have been doing my YouTube channel exclusively showing Heroclix content for about 5.5 years now. And I've personally been playing the game since it actually started back in 2002, which we're coming up on, oh gosh, we're over 16 years now. I've been playing this game for about half my life. That is a very scary thing to say. But yeah, I started right at the beginning with Infinity Challenge, and I got the starter set. My brother picked it up one day after school and was like, let's get into this game. I was hooked instantly. Fortunately, he was not. So it took a while before I got to play it again. And my first serious boyfriend played Mage Knight in Mech Warrior. And he learned how to play Heroclix. And I found them. He found like my lonely little box of Heroclix under my bed one day when he was over. And he was like, oh my gosh, you play Heroclix. And then from there, we found a venue to play at. And we started going to conventions to play. And yeah, it's been pretty steady. I even met my husband through Heroclix, which obviously was not the first serious boyfriend that I mentioned. I met him during the first time I ever went to a venue to play Heroclix. And then I dropped off when WizKids kind of went under for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that was around the time that I had my first kid. And then I didn't get back until about 2010, I think, and then didn't get serious back into going venues and stuff till about 2013, and then I've been steady since then.
Very cool. That's a cool story. I like that. All right, so next up we're going to go to Nancy. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and when you started playing?
Hi everyone, I'm Nancy Yang. I'm in New York City. Currently, I'm the judge of the venue Geekery HQ, and we recently earned our first WKO. So brought together the community from practically scratch, and now have gotten ourselves a WKO. So super excited. Anybody who's in New York City or around New York City, or not in New York City, across the world, if you want to come over to New York City, come play at our WKO November 17th. I started playing not too long ago. Found out about Heroclix summer of 2015 with Age of Ultron. My partner Rob and I then scoured the city to find a venue. Was playing Heroclix. We went to Complete Strategist and walked down to the basement. Bunch of guys playing Heroclix. I walked to the judge and said, new player, want to get into it. And the judge says, well, there are a lot of senior players here. You probably want to try your hand at the venue in Brooklyn, King's Games. And being the stubborn person that I am, I said, challenge accepted. So I stuck to that. Judge like glue. His name is Errol Hanna. And I call him my Heroclix sensei now. He's taught me a lot about the game, taught me a lot about being a good judge. And I'd have to say, I mean, I came in around the time when the game was at its all-time high in terms of complexity, so much so that WizKids said, we have to do a complete reset with the rules. So had I waited just a little while after that, I could have come in with the new rules, with the new cards and the changes to the game. And I would say I didn't really start to enjoy and be obsessed with the game like I am now until my first Origins in 2017. And I think having 4 days when you're surrounded by what I think are just the coolest people around the world, playing this game that we all love and playing Battle Royale after Battle Royale, forgetting to eat lunch. After that, you can't help but be bitten by the bug. So shortly after, I found my own venue to judge at, and here we are.
Oh, very good. Cool story. And Origins is actually how I met Nancy. She went this past year. I was lucky enough to be able to go this year, and I basically made Mrs. Clicks play in a Battle Royale, and Nancy was nice enough to help her, and she actually did pretty good. You helped her get a second place in her first and only Battle Royale ever, so thank you for that.
Oh my god, I didn't know that was her only Battle Royale. That was really awesome. She did great.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. All right. So next we have Sam Powell.
Hey, everybody. I'm Sam. A lot of you guys know me. I am the better half of the rock champ, Daniel Powell. But I'm located here in southern Indiana, Evansville area, and I'm part of Team Clickstoff. And I'm the only female around this area. So I started the game back in about Age of Ultron. My husband and I collect figures and stuff, and we stumbled upon the game by just finding some Iron Man figures, and he got the bug. He started playing. He kind of dragged me along to get the boosters from Age of Ultron. It wasn't until about Superman and Wonder Woman when I really caught on. I was like, wow, this is really, really fun. And I started playing competitive in like 2016. So I have a few wins under my belt. So it's always kind of nice to kind of get those under my belt. But other than that, I like to play for fun. So
very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, you've won quite a few tournaments. You'll see your name pop up more than once. So I guess I should introduce myself to hopefully the new people watching. My name is James. I'm Mr. Clicks. I run Mr. Clicks Flicks here on YouTube. I also am on Twitter and Facebook and a couple other places. I've been playing for a while. I've been playing since like Sinister and Armor Wars were like the newish things that were out right then. So that's older, but not as long as Amber. And the when I started playing it at the time, I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is kind of embarrassing, but that's what I did. You know, we all had to start somewhere. And I saw the original Days of Future Past sitting on the shelf with the Colonel Logan and Hound and Sentinel that was like all shot up. And I asked the shop owner at the time, I said, you know, what's the deal with this? Are these just action figures or whatever? And he told me what it was, and there was another guy there that played Heroclix, and he was like, I can show you how to play. I have some with me. And he had his X-Men there, and I was able to play with the Sentinel that I just bought. And from that day on, I was hooked on Heroclix. I took my Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the next day, traded them in for Heroclix, and that was all there was to that. And I've been playing ever since then. But I like the game a lot, and I'm happy to be here. I have no notable wins for tournaments. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. I think the best I've done is a third place for a state ROC. So can't win them all, but all right. So
a winner in our book, James.
Thank you. I try anyway. Someday it'll happen. It'll be I'm the only person that shows up and nobody else does, and I can win. But all right, so I guess we'll go ahead and get into the list of topics that I sent to you guys. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the state of the game. So just basically, are you happy with the last couple sets, general direction of the game, things like that. So we're going to go ahead, since we started with Amber before, we'll start with Nancy for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of years under my belt to compare, but for instance, people were conflicted about Infinity War, and I freaking loved it. I mean, you got a Colossal with every booster. Kronos is my best friend for his regular prob, for his special prob. I I'm known, you talked about famous women. I'm actually famous for my bad rolls. I've had players actually play across from me and say, I've never seen such bad rolling in my life. So having a figure like Kronos, really awesome. The Harley Quinn bombshell set was amazing for me as just a lover of this game, but also as a female player. Because of course, and I like that there are a lot of bystanders now in the game. I like to play swarm teams. I also like to accessorize and get the special bystanders, all my special bystander folks. And I think finally the new chases from the Batman animated series set is now rewarding players for rolling horribly, and I think that is just a nod to me.
There you go. Very interesting. Yeah, that's why my rolls are also famously bad. That's why my end tagline is, it's only critical miss if you don't have prob. It's just because they're that bad. But anyway, that's good. Okay, so you're generally happy with the way things are going right now. So we will now go to Sam, and you can tell us what you think about the state of the game.
So I mean, I'm the same boat with Nancy. Like, I haven't been playing too long, but I started when the batteries were around. And I played a little bit of tournament play with the batteries and played with Pandora's Box and stuff. And I think today's game is a way, way more balanced. I mean, WizKids came out and said, hey, like, the more complex powers are going to be seen on higher rarity pieces. We've seen that in Infinity War. We've seen that in, Batman and everything like that. So I think if you look at today's meta, or you look at today's just game in general, there's not just like one team that you are preparing for tournaments. There's like 25. Like, I'm getting ready for Rock Cup, and like, I don't even know what team to practice against. Because there's so many good stuff out there. There's theme teams, there's little swarm teams, there's one-man armies, there's 50 different cosmic theme teams. So I think the game in itself is just super balanced and super just it hits a very wide range of players rather than just like, when you had the batteries, or even after the batteries. I mean, it was kind of just like you either played Uni or you played Jakeem, or I mean, you had like 5 teams. Now there's 25 teams, and you can play whatever play style you like. If you like alpha, if you like sit back, do you like defensive, do you like the mind control game? So I think the game overall is going very well. I think it's healthy, very healthy.
Yeah, definitely a very diverse game in general, and then just a diverse meta right now. I always try to tell people, they say there's not that many. I'm like, guys, there's over a dozen. You said 25. That's probably pretty close to accurate. I was like, there's all these teams we know about, and then some others that we've never even heard of or considered. So definitely positive in that outlook. All right, Amber, so it's your turn. You go ahead and give us your thoughts on the state of the game.
So from both like release-wise and competitive play-wise, I think this is really good sweet spot that we've hit right now. This year has actually been really good for releases in the fact that we had that 15th anniversary year where everything just kind of came out. And I think there was 12 sets that came out that year. And like that's kind of ridiculous. Like, that's about double what we're used to getting in a year. So everybody was complaining about just overwhelming amount of product coming out. So thankfully this year has been dialed back. We have not had that problem, and it looks like we might get a heavier year next year, but it still won't reach that peak of like oversaturation. But on top of that, like as I've said, being here from the start, it's so nice to see all of these other properties come in as well. So we have the Ninja Turtles, which is still going forward. We have some new Star Trek clicks next year. We have the WWE clicks coming out that I'm super excited for. And then on top of that, our regular Marvel and our DC, we're getting a return to the movie Gravity Feed sets. There's going to be a Captain Marvel set next year. So a lot of releases seem really good. I'm excited for Battle World. I'm both excited and upset with Battle World because I'm not an Avengers fan. I'm an X-Men fan. So there's so many Battle World stories that went along with the X-Men, and those just aren't being touched on because this is more the Avengers side of Battle World. So we're not going to see like 1602 or the zombies or even some of the Thor Corps were mutants. We're not going to see that.
Yeah.
So there's a fair amount of characters that I really, really liked from those storylines that just aren't going to show up.
Yeah. As a Fantastic Four fan, I feel you on that one.
Yeah. And then when it comes down to competitive, like Sam was saying, this is a very healthy and balanced meta. We got really stagnated, actually, once the batteries retired and all we had was the teleporter and the round table. And that entire, like, 2-year span, the competitive play just completely stagnated. It was you either had the winning team or you didn't, because there wasn't anything else on top of that to help it. And now we're completely out of resources. We don't have, like, okay, technically the Punisher Van is a resource, and technically the Blackbird is a resource, but come on, those aren't resources. At least not what we came to know as resources.
Yeah, pretty much so. Yeah.
But then you have all these equipment, you have all these characters, you have all these bystanders, you have so many different interesting mechanics, and as we were saying, like 25 teams to choose from, and it caters to every playstyle. So it's an incredibly healthy, competitive scene right now. I think the only thing that's missing is to get back to the slop events over the summers, which apparently are coming back, but maybe more on the exclusive side. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
I'll have to say this one thing. It's really nice to go to a tournament and not have to face 5 rounds of uni.
Oh god,
this is so diverse right now.
That was so taxing on the nerves when that
you
was
just
going
literally like, okay, I'm gonna play uni Lockjaw, or I'm gonna play uni Nighthawk the first round, then the second round uni the Nighthawk, and then the third round, and it's like, oh.
Do you know I still have not played against Unimind?
What?
I've never played against him.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Just come down to my region. It's like the uni.
Oh man, I feel you on that. So yeah, I personally I think the state of the game's in a pretty healthy place right now. We're moving in a good direction set wise. It seems like they calmed down on the release schedule, which is nice. I like the super boosters from Avengers Infinity, like just that they all had super boosters, because it to me it really opened up the properties that they can tackle when they did that. Like now, like I have a hope and a prayer that someday I might get Transformers in like a way that I would like. And like Amber said, they're opening up properties all the time. I think having just a nice diverse, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Like a diversity of like you got the gravity feeds, you got the super boosters, you got the 5-figure sets, stuff like that. They're doing good. Balance wise, they seem to be really doing a good job. I haven't heard of the watch list in a while, so you know when you're not hearing about the watch list, you know things must be moving in a pretty positive direction. And that's about it. I think the meta is as diverse as it's ever been, probably more so diverse. I can think of at any given time about 20 teams that would, you know, at least top 8 or top 4 at most tournaments, and then you know there's always the ones you don't know about, and you know it's way more than rock paper scissors at this point. So it's just looking up. So let's get into the next thing of if you could change one thing about Heroclix or what WizKids does with it, what would it be? And we will start with Sam first for this one.
So I wish that WizKids would move Worlds back out of winter. Like, I feel like the move of Worlds was like awful. Like, I can't even go. I qualified for Worlds and I can't even go because of work. So, and being in Philly, I mean, Nancy, you're in New York, so
for me, yeah.
You know that winter in the Northeast is like, it's either blizzard or you still have snow. So,
yeah.
I don't think that was a great move on their part. But I mean, if I could change anything, I'd be like, hey, WizKids, move Worlds like either earlier in the year. Like if you want to have that location, just don't have it in the middle of the winter. So
Yeah.
but really, other than that,
I actually have a question on that for Nancy, because I know you're in New York. Do you guys get snow in November?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it's inconsistent. So sometimes it could be actually pretty toasty in November, or we have a blizzard. So I think the inconsistency makes it so that folks that are traveling can't really plan very well. But on the flip side, I was super excited to see my Heroclix friends that I only get to see once a year now for the second time this year. But I do agree with Sam. I mean, if this was during a warmer time in the year, I wonder if we would get better attendance, or we're still going to get amazing attendance. Who knows?
Yeah. I only had to ask because, like, so I'm from Southern Ontario, which I'm only like an hour away from the border of Ontario and New York. So I'm kind of in the same weather zone technically, but we haven't had snow in November since like I was 12. We don't get snow anymore. We start getting snow end of December, anywhere between December and February. Like our winter is actually like January to like May. So like, whatever, I won't have we don't get snow up in Canada. How would they have snow in Philadelphia? So
Amber, are you going to Worlds?
I am.
Thank goodness.
I am, yes.
Sam, we're gonna miss you.
I wish I could go. Like my husband and everybody's like, you should just take a couple days unpaid, and I just
yeah, do that.
Especially with my profession, it's really hard around the holidays.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, I understand that. Like for us, it's the timing and the finances, because so Worlds right now is November 30th to December 2nd. So my daughter's 10th birthday is November 16th. My birthday is November 18th. Worlds is November 30th. And then we have Jason's birthday is December 14th. And then we have Christmas. So it's like we're bombarded with like, we have no money until like February. Like we have no money. Like money does not exist right now because we're going to Worlds. We have 3 birthdays to get through and then Christmas with 3 children. And it's like, no, we have no money anymore.
Yeah.
So another thing that I thought, like, WizKids, like, just thinking about, like, the game and state and stuff, I just wish they had more uniqueness on characters. Like, I get the swarm teams or stuff, but, like, there's times I'm just like, really? Like, what if Super Rare Wolverine was unique? Like, how would that change the game? You know? Yeah. Like, that's the kind of stuff I don't think they, like, fully, like, I don't know if they just don't test it right or, like, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes they let things go by and then it's like, oh, then it like the guys around here or, you know, us, we're like, oh, hey, if you combo those together and you put 5 Wolverines on your team, then you've got a really good meta team that can't be stopped. So,
yeah.
Like, but 5 Wolverines, no one's going to play that.
Yeah. No, I don't play that.
Except for Amber.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's a really, really good team, so it's viable. I mean, that's another thing I would probably change.
Yeah. That's all good changes. I like them. I wish they would have like a Highlander type thing too. That would make things nice. But okay, so we will do Amber next. What if you could make them change one thing? What would it be?
So I was actually thinking on this. I think my one thing I would change is the way that they do bystanders. Now, I don't believe any of you guys maybe James, were around long enough to remember that bystanders used to come in packs.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. When we get older stuff, I've seen them. Yeah.
So they used to actually, like, each booster would come with a bystander. So I would either like that to be back as the standard, that they would put bystanders back in the packs, or package them with the characters that create them. Or alternatively, because there's so many people that do it now anyways, and I do believe they have the resources to do it. When they make their Dice and Tokens pack, have a bystander pack and have them be like the poker chips and really nice printed, and just sell a pack of like, oh, these are the bystanders that are available in this set, and have like 1 or 2 depending on whatever the max is. So it's like for Batman, the animated series, like here's 2 storm harpies, here's 3 poisonous mushrooms, here's 3 vines, and have it sold. And I feel like that would go over way better than what they tried to do with like the Clix Effects packs, because they did sell that at one point, and I don't believe like very few people went out and bought those.
Rob got like all of them 3 times over because he had.
Yeah, we got 2 of them because they only came with 3 smoke, and you need 6. So we bought 2 packs because they're like, well, I need 6 smoke. Why did you only sell it with 3? But yeah, I feel like that would be a very positive change to either go back to putting bystanders back in the packs, or to sell them separately as like a premium pack, and guaranteed those would fly off the shelf.
Yeah.
And I think if they do that, then they need to regulate that if you do play those characters, then you play with the WizKids Pogs.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I know, like, when I play like Groot or anything that gets a bystander, we go get like custom made Pogs made. Because like people that were just like, oh, here's my tokens that I use, and I'm going to use like blue tokens as my like royal hatchlings. Like, okay, well, I don't know what those are. I don't know the combat symbols. I don't know like what defenses I have. Like, I just wish that if they did something like that, I think Amber's right. Players would buy the crap out of those, but then they would have to make them like, hey, you have to use them, kind of like Mudmen.
Yeah.
You have to use the bystander for Mudmen.
All right, so that's a good point. I've been preaching that for a little bit, but yeah, I think that if they did a set of like all the bystanders from a set in like a Dyson token style pack, and I'd pay as much as $10 for nice ones. Like I'm one of the people that like makes stuff. Not that you can see it on the camera, but you know, like they just do a better job than me because they have more resources than I do. So it seems like they're leaving money on the table. I don't know if it's by choice, but it is what they're doing. So Nancy, if you could change one thing that Heroclix does, what would it be?
Well, just talking about the bystanders for now, I do appreciate the folks that create the bystanders, that make the custom bystanders. They are so creative and so amazing. I feel like I would really like to keep using those custom bystanders, even if Heroclix or WizKids rule that you had to use the one that came in the pack. I don't know. I was really digging that. In terms of what I would change, I really like the game as it is now. I really love the new rules, with the exception of like really complicated head-scratching rules, like the elevation ruling, where if there's blocking terrain on the first level, it's not blocking anything on the second level, but the ruling for it was really convoluted, I thought. Besides that, I really dig in the game for now. I think as a judge and someone who's building a community at the venue, and as a teacher, I would like WizKids to incentivize some more of the sidekick events. So yes, you can get those the sidekick packs. Those are nice. But I think if you're going to have successful sidekick events, you need new players as well as the senior players, and something to incentivize play for the seasoned players who are spending their time to groom your community could be really valuable. So that's one addition, I think. Yeah,
that's really cool. There used to be a thing way back when called New Guy Night. And that's how I got my first Iron Man, was New Guy Night. And that was a really good Iron Man. He was so good. Yeah, really good Iron Man. Avengers was the first thing I ever like collected everything of, and him and the veteran Hawkeye like made every team forever. But yeah, new guy definitely needs to come back, and I also feel like they just I feel like they leave a little bit to be desired with like advertising. Like the ID card thing was cool, where like you could put your face in it and like take a picture with it, but like I should be able to pick up a comic book once in a while and see a Heroclix ad, or or a poster. They used to have the posters with like all the sets in them, or all the figures from the set in it. Just to show off the figures and stuff that they could hang up in stores. So I guess that's really my only critique that I wish they'd do right now. Like you guys all pretty much said, I like what they're doing with the figures and stuff, and then like Amber said with the tokens, I kind of wish they'd move in a direction to just sell me a pack for $10. I'll buy it. Just do it for me. Like, so the next thing is if you won Heroclix World Championship this year, what figure would you make? And if you have an idea, you don't have to right now, but if you have an idea for like a flavor power, can you give me just an overview of it? So I believe it's Sam's turn to go first on this one.
Well, I went first last time, but I can go first. Yeah, I can go.
We'll go reverse order. It was all planned.
That's why.
Okay, so yeah, Sam, you can go first this time. We'll just work our way back up to Amber.
Okay. So I thought about this, and like a lot of people know, shocker, I love Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not going to be at Worlds. I can't win Worlds, but if I did, Sam. But if I did, I would make a Wonder Woman, and I thought a flavor power would be called "I Wield the Lasso of Truth." Mm-hmm. And like she would have like a reach of 7, and then like a hit character is roped adjacent to Wonder Woman, given an action token, and cannot use Perplex, Outwit, or Prob until their next turn or your next turn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
That would be my like. It would be like she'd probably be like 80 points.
That's still good. 80
a solid piece, about at least. I don't know, 6 clicks deep.
Yeah, so. No, that sounds like a real playable piece. 80 points is something that you can fit on most teams, and that lasso of truth power sounds dirty. WizKids needs to hire you to do some dial design.
I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I saw your notes, and I was like, okay, I got to think about this. This is going to be a good one.
That's good. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, Nancy, since we're going snake order, what is the figure that you would make, and do you have a flavor power for it?
I feel like it's so obvious if all the women on your show talk about Wonder Woman, but Amber's going to talk about Wolverine probably. But yeah, Wonder Woman. I know Wonder Woman has been done to death in Heroclix, but I would love my favorite Wonder Woman outfit is Jim Lee's version of her with the spandex pants.
Oh yeah,
and laser, because that's pretty much my style, so I see that very much in myself. With some like cool lasso flavor power. I appreciate Sam's thoughtful creation of her flavor power. I'm thinking of characters that I haven't seen a lot. Oh, Jumpa, Wonder Woman's Jumpa, as some sort of like, I don't know, bystander or something. Could be really cool. But a character that I don't think has been done before. It has Daken, Wolverine's son.
Yes.
Way back in Web of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Amber, was there another one? Or is that the only one?
I think there may have been 2 in that set. But yeah, that's all we've ever seen of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe another Daken. Some tatted badass. And of course, powers would be some kind of, fancy schmancy healing thing and blades. But I think that would be pretty cool.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, both of those figures are cool. I like the idea of like just the Wonder Woman with like the different get up, like instead of the standard, spangled Spanx and red top. That's cool.
We've had enough Wonder Women with the no pants.
Yeah.
It's time to bring a Wonder Woman with the pants.
There we go. All right, Amber, so you're up for what figure you would make and a flavor power if you got it.
So as everybody knows that I do love Wolverine.
Yes.
But I like up until a point, Wolverine was the one that I really wanted to make because I felt like they didn't make him properly.
Mm-hmm.
But the last few iterations that we've had of him have actually been really well done. So now I'm over that. I'm good. We're good.
So your Wolverine got up to like $85 and you're okay with that?
Yes. Yeah, the super rare Wolverine, and I'm like, all right, he's like top 8'd all over the place. I'm good.
Yeah.
No, the other thing that it's, I don't know how well known this one is that I also love the Exiles. It was the first full comic book run that I ever actually completely completed. I have all the trades, and I'm also now currently collecting the new run because they just brought it back and actually comes out number 9 comes out this week. So the character that I would love to do is Nocturne. And we haven't seen Nocturne since the REV days. When it was just the rookie experienced veteran. And back then you can't really do a character like her back then when all you had were the standard pack powers. And we haven't seen her made since we got the new traits and special powers and stuff. So I'd love to have her come back. And as like a flavored kind of trait power with her. So for anybody that's not aware of the background origins of this, is that Nocturne is from an alternate universe, and she is Nightcrawler's daughter and Scarlet Witch's daughter. So
Okay.
Nightcrawler and Scarlet Witch have a kid. So she looks like Nightcrawler, but she has Scarlet Witch's powers. So she has like hex bolts and stuff, but one of her main things is that she possesses people. And this was a big thing as part of the run of House of M, was that she actually possessed the body of Marvel Girl, which was Rachel Summers at the time. And so the power would be that she would have a mind control. That would have to be a close action mind control. And then you remove her from the map. Take control of that character wherever it goes. Once that action resolves, you place her adjacent to that character. And then give that character either an action token or 1 unavoidable damage. Because once she possesses someone, when she actually comes in, because she physically possesses their body. Like her body goes into there. She physically possesses them. And then afterwards, they're like completely drained. So either like give them action tokens or give them damage because like they're messed up once she's done possessing them.
That sounds awesome. I honestly, I didn't know very much about that character. I remembered the figure from back then, but I didn't know anything about the character. So that's awesome. That's a good pick.
And she just came back in Clicks. Or sorry, not in Clicks, in the comics. She just came back and she's like, oh, I've been like doing Exile stuff for the last like 5 years. We're like, that's bullshit. She was in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, she finally came back in the comics. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so I guess I'll do my pick. It would be also a figure that's been done before, but not in a while. I think Fantastic Forces was the last time he was in Clicks. And it's the Mad Thinker, the Fantastic Four villain that creates Awesome Andy. And I would just have him basically where he can spawn an Awesome Andy, and then his thing is like he's always improving on him. So when Awesome Andy gets knocked out, he comes back with +1 stats until you get to +3, and then when you KO him, he stays dead. And also give him some kind of a super outwit where he can use outwit, but opposing characters within like 4 squares in line of fire can't use outwit. Just something like that to demonstrate that he's like always 1 step ahead. Maybe give him some perplex sprinkled in there somewhere. But the main thing would just be creating the android and maybe some support powers for it. Maybe he can mind control the friendly android too. But that would be what I'd do. Hopefully someday we'll see some Fantastic Four Clicks.
I mean, whoever wins Worlds just needs to put like the first 3 choices Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom.
I know.
And then they're serious.
Yes.
Then they're serious.
Yeah, if you say it 3 times in a mirror, don't they make them?
Huh?
If you say it 3 times into a mirror, don't they make them?
Yeah.
So
So okay, so we did that, and Oh, the Pauper format. Whose turn is it? Is it Nancy's turn? I feel like it's Nancy's turn to go first. Okay. Nancy, have you heard about the Pauper format that a few people have been peddling?
Yeah, that's the all commons format, right?
Yeah. Do you have any particular feelings about that?
I love it. At my venue, we've run variations of that. I don't think we've done all commons, but we've done commons uncommons only, and then CUR only. And I think it's an equalizer for bringing seasoned players and new players together, because otherwise you just don't have the pieces to play. And I think there are enough interesting commons and uncommons and rares to make the game still fun without bringing in these just crazy super rares and chases.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's definitely pretty diverse. Amber, you're up. Jason calls his version of Pauper, though. He calls it, what is it, every man for everyone, right?
Yes. So that is how he's saying it right now. He has done a full-out game document, tournament document of how to run the tournaments. He's really trying to push this forward as like a fun format for everybody to go forward with it, with very like strict rulings and guidelines of how it should be done. We actually did this tournament a few years back, I believe, where it all kind of started with, and I was judging that one for him. It was very interesting. I think one of the things that came out of it that was just really fascinating to see was just how many kind of like small generic support characters there were, because so many of those are in the common slot. So it's like every team had its own kind of like pit crew to go along with, and so you had almost every power available to you, because a lot of those smaller guys have those in the common slot. And then of course you do have your big bruisers. At the time that we ran this, Invincible Iron Man, I believe, was still kind of there. So like he was still really powerful, but then I found that a lot of teams were more balanced and well thought out. You didn't have too many like one-man armies or tentpole teams. A lot of them were very balanced, just kind of like mid-level teams, because that's what you can build out of only having the common ones. Because even if we look at the format now and everybody's like, oh, well, what about Cable? What about Batman Beyond? It's like, that's great, but those are only 100 points. You still have 200 points to fill up with other figures. So it that's a good basis to make those teams. And yeah, those guys are super strong, but then it's only a third of your team. You still have to go from there. I know my husband's really kind of pushing for this format, and I've helped him develop it along the way as we've been working on it. But it's been getting really good reception so far, and I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to do another run another tournament on it. But people have been telling us that they've been running them too, and kind of go from there, and it seems to be really positive for I think there aren't too many people that are like, oh my gosh, this is a horrible tournament. A lot of people seem to be really receptive to this idea of kind of equaling the playing field and taking figures that are really widely available to everyone and seeing where you can go from there.
Yeah. Has anybody heard, because it is picking up steam, has anybody heard, like, is WizKids listening? Did are they considering like having another format other than Modern? I feel like when they had that one Golden Age World Championship, and I feel like it kind of soured them on doing other formats other than just 300 Modern. I don't know, Amber, you're probably
it's
more
hard
on
to
the
say
inside.
right now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say names, but I am good friends with the current WizKids tournament, like official tournament organizer.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not he's looked at this though.
Okay.
So we've been talking more. Last time we talked about stuff was Canadian Nationals. So
okay.
I haven't talked to him about this, so I'm not sure whether he knows, or whether it would even if he knows, whether or not that would be a consideration for them.
Okay. Cool. All right, and Sam, so your thoughts on Pauper?
So I may have a little bit of a different insight. So I think it's great for casual. I think it's great for any casual. Like we do it at our events there at our store. And I think it's great because it does let you play with pieces that you normally just like, okay, I pulled, and you just throw in the box. It makes you really think out of the box and build teams. And like, oh, okay, I have like 50 points of support that I normally don't ever have on a team. But I don't know if it's going to work in the competitive scene. Just because, like, I know people say, like, it gives a very fair playing ground, but, like, you're not going to take the skill away from great players. Like, there's no way of taking the skill away
Absolutely.
from the top 10 players in the world. Like, you can hand them a box of commons, uncommons, and rares. They're still going to build a really freaking good team, and it's still going to be competitive, and it's still going to be like, you just can't take the skill from them. So, I mean, yeah, I can see the argument that it balances out. Like, I can have access to all the pieces that you have access to, but I don't know. Yeah. I guess I just need to see it more. We just don't have it around here as much. We just do it on fun nights. And I usually get creamed when it brings like the weird stuff, and I'm like, I haven't even got this figured out of the booster, and because it's not really one that we're looking for, or that would play in our format. So that's
the one thing I do have to say about this one, at least what Jason is proposing for this, is that it's not meant to be like a world championship type tournament. It's meant to be a fun tournament on the side while other championships are happening. So it's not supposed to be high level competitive, but then on top of that, it is also supposed to prove a point to an extent of the people that are like, oh, this game is pay to win. And it's like, okay, well, let's remove that factor, and you'll still notice that all the same people are winning, because it does come down to skill of certain players, and the players that are winning at these pay-to-play events are still going to win when you take all of those elements away.
Yeah. The one thing I missed with Origins this year was the side events. I don't know. I mean, Amber, I don't think you were there. But,
I was not at Origins this year.
But Nancy, I don't know if you realized that the amount of side events were like lackluster. And that's a perfect opportunity for them to do those kind of things, because I remember playing it was 500 points power outage, and it was so much fun. Like, they rolled D20s and said, okay, you can't use pink powers until I roll again. And it was like, oh crap, I have no invincible, I have no sidestep. Like, it was amazing. And they don't have those anymore. It's like, this is where you should be doing these special formats and testing them and teaching people, so then they can take them back to their stores and then advance the game. Because, I mean, we play 300 Modern a lot because we're practicing for tourneys and for a Rock Cup and stuff like that. But, you know, even on special nights, like, we have our favorite one is we do comic cover night. But it gets stale after a while because it's like, okay, we're just to keep doing comic cover. So, like, it's up to WizKids to give us new formats, to say, hey, like, this is a new format we're doing. Like, test it out in your place, and, bring back the feedback to us. And I don't know. I hope this works. I mean, I hope it works for, some fun events. And like I said, I just don't think it's going to be for the competitive. Like, if it's at Worlds or if it's for any major tournament, like, I can just see, like, tables being flipped and dice thrown and like
yeah,
I totally agree. I mean, once you get to competitive play, then anything goes. Absolutely. But for the newer players at my store, they've become pretty demoralized when we do construct it, and seasoned players are bringing in chases from, just expensive chases, right? If we don't cap it at Modern, then people are bringing in bananas pieces that these new players just don't have access to. And I think limiting everyone to commons or the lower rarities makes a difference to bring the new players back consistently.
I think it's great for like you guys said, like the new guy night and sidekick night. That's perfect for that stuff. Like, hey, I think every venue should do at least 2 weeks of fun play where they, I know a place we go to here, they do the CUR, no primes, and it's fun. Like, it is fun, but I don't know, like, I just play with some guys that they will break any format you give them.
Yeah.
So,
You need to get out somewhere to have fun in Heroclix.
I know. Like,
Come
You
to
need to travel to play casual Heroclix because the guys you
know.
play with, they're too serious.
Amber knows the guys I play with. Like, I have to bring my A game like every Thursday. I mean, like, when I'm like, okay, I want to play with like this piece that I've never played before, and I'm thinking of this really cool theme team. I show up and I just get completely wrecked and I'm like, oh, that's great. You spent like how many hours building this team and got like 2 turns in. So
Yeah. All right. Whose turn is this? This is my turn, I guess. So the Pauper format, I personally really like it. I've been pushing a lot on my channel. I know a couple Heroclix channels have been pushing it out. I will differ from you girls about that. I do think that it could be there could be a 300-point modern world championship and then a 300-point Pauper champion or a national championship or something like that. Although I do like the side events idea. That could be cool for that. I really like it because to me, like when you you buy a brick for an example, and you get, if you didn't have a lot of money to buy that and you need to recoup some, all the money's in the super rares and the chases, and then you have like a bunch of less than 1 cent commons left over. Whereas if you had a Pauper format that was recognized by the company and they supported it and did tournaments with it, that maybe Hellion, instead of being worth 15 cents, would be worth $2. Just to give you sort of more value in your blind product, so that if you opened a booster without a super rare in it, you weren't losing half your money as soon as you cracked it open. But I do agree. I'd like to see him at least try it for a side event. I hadn't thought about just kind of slow stepping it like that. But overall, I like the format a lot. I've done it with commons only, and we're doing an ROC win-a-map at my venue that's going to be commons and uncommons, and we're going to see how that one works out too. But I think it's diverse. Anything where it's like, oh, I can run 2 Stiltmans and a Kingpin, and have it be reasonably difficult to KO. But like that would just be frustrating to sit across against. Like, you can have Cable, I'll have 2 Stiltmen. but yeah, so that's everything. Anybody else have anything about Pauper that they want to chime in with? All right, I will take the silence as a no. All right, we are 53 minutes in, so I'll edit that part out. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more things to do, 4 more questions, and then just everybody replugging their stuff. Is everybody okay with finishing that stuff, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. So the next question we have is, how's the tournament scene from a woman's perspective? So from your perspective, and it's Amber's turn, I believe, to go first.
I was actually, so when I looked over the show notes earlier again today, and I came to this question, and I'm like racking my brain as to how to answer this question, because I'm like, how is the tournament scene from a woman's perspective any different than the tournament scene from a man's perspective? And I was really confused by this. I was like, I don't know how to answer this.
No, that's fine. It's a bit of a silly question, but sometimes you do hear people. Their argument is that they don't like going to tournaments because they don't see somebody that's quote unquote like them at the tournament, so then they don't have as good of a time as they could. So that's basically where the question came from. Is do you notice that, you?
I was raised by my dad alongside my brother. Mm-hmm. I started reading comics at 6. I started playing video games at 3. Like, if I stopped doing things because there weren't other people that looked like me there, I would never do anything.
Right, yeah. So
that's good, though. I understand I understand that there is that kind of almost attitude to it, and like I have had times where guys come up to me and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, like you read comics? Oh my gosh, you play video games? Oh my gosh, you play Heroclix?" And it's like, well, yeah, but like that's not weird for me because I've done it for so many years. And once people get into like a conversation with me about it and like can't get me to shut up, and they're like, "Oh, okay," like I don't get that kind of like gatekeeping attitude anymore, because the instant I open my mouth, they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess she's not like a fake nerd girl. She knows what she's talking about. We can have a conversation." But like honestly, in like the 16 years that I've been playing HeroClix, maybe 2 or 3 times that's actually happened to me. So for me to walk into a tournament, I don't feel like I'm any different than any of the other guys that are there, at least presence wise, because then when it comes down to skill, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having a really bad day, I'm really bad at this game, then that's where it differs. So it's more of like I'm a bad player versus like going up against all these really good players. It's like that's where my perspective is, rather than, you know, hey, I have boobs.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear, though. I mean, that's the answer we really want, though, right? Is that, you know, it's welcoming for everybody, is what I'm hearing, basically, is you've pretty much always felt welcome.
Yeah, but also I'm Canadian, so that could be something completely different.
Oh, good grief. Okay. So it's Nancy's turn next. Same question.
You know what's super funny? I had some notes on every question that you sent us, except for this question, for the same reason that Amber was like, where is he going with this? And how do I answer this? But I think you're right, James. It's a testament to how just a normal player I feel as a HeroClix player. If you're wondering if there's any sort of, you know, bias on either side for me as a woman, I haven't felt it, thank goodness. Otherwise I wouldn't be playing, probably.
Yeah.
And when, especially in Origins, when you're surrounded by, you know, there's hundreds of players, everyone's been super welcoming. And I say this all the time. HeroClix players probably are among the best community of people in my life. Mm-hmm. So I think that stuff definitely has something to do with it. And also, I'm a judge at my venue, so I tell a whole bunch of guys what to do, you know, once or twice a month, and I think it's fine. I think the guys are like, okay, well, here's Nancy again. So, yeah, other than that, I listen. Do I want to see more women playing? Absolutely. So when I didn't know Sam very well until today, so the next time I see her at Origins, better believe we're going to be hanging out together. But to hear that my girls, Amber and Asia, weren't going to be at Origins was a bummer, because it is quite a sausage fest, and it's really nice to have, you know, your fellow gals to hang out with. So yes, I think would love to have more women playing the game. And I think one of your questions later on is how do we bring more women in? So I'm still to be talking more about that. But as it stands, I think the community is so amazing and so welcoming that I think I think women would feel really welcome coming to play this game.
That's good. And again, these are the answers I was looking for. And feel free to rain on the parade, Sam, if you feel differently. But this is the answers I was hoping for, because I really do like you guys feel. I've played tons of different collectible card games, and I think I've played pretty much everything except for Magic the Gathering at one time or another. And HeroClix, you know, some people, you know, act like the sky is falling, but I really do think that this is probably the best gaming community I've ever been a part of. Everybody seems pretty welcoming. Generally, at least when you see people in person, they're very nice, very helpful, welcoming to new people, new venues all the time. Or, you know, when you go to a new place, you know, it's almost like you've been going there for years, especially if you're like an actual new person that's never played before. You'll leave with, you know, 20 or 30 extra figures just because people are like, here, please come play with us. Yep. So that's nice to hear that you guys are having a similar experience to what I did. So Sam, it is your turn for this, the last go round of this relatively silly question.
Again, I'm kind of with Amber. I was kind of like, I don't really know how to answer this, but I mean, coming from someone who, like, I felt like I was in the shadow for such a long time of Daniel. I mean, because he's so well known, like he won the Rock World Cup or something. But
Or something.
I mean, I felt like I was in the shadow for so long time. Because, like, for a long time when I walked into a tournament, I was like, I felt comfortable. Like, I didn't feel like threatened, or the guys welcomed me, and I was like, okay. But I was known as Daniel's wife. Like, that was my name. Like, I was Daniel's wife. And then, then I had to, like, get out of that shadow, and I had to branch out. And, like, now I walk in, and it's like, okay, there's Sam. Like, everybody knows me.
Yes.
The origins, and it was like, we're sitting there, and it's like, I swear, like 15 people flocked me. I don't even know these people's names. I don't even know where they're from, and they were just like, oh my gosh, Sam Powell, and they're talking, they're wanting to know what team I'm going to play, and I'm like, okay, this is a little overwhelming. I'm not used to this. Can we, like, back up? Like, I don't know your name, but yeah, the Heroclix community is so welcoming. I mean, I play with guys, I room with guys, I travel with guys. I don't feel threatened or demoralized or anything like that. So
good. That is fabulous to hear. So we're 3 for 3 on that there is no difference. So the what was it's like I can't read. So where let me see here. We did Amber started. So what did we do? Are we going to Amber again? Or are we going to Nancy? We'll go to Nancy this time. You can start off. So, because you alluded to this question to begin with anyway. So, where are all the women Heroclix players, since we've established that there's no difference and everybody's welcoming? WTF, where are they at?
I mean, I wish I knew. I'm sure part of it is that, so the three of us feel super welcomed, probably after having an experience where we tried something out and we were welcomed, right? So I would be remiss not to mention the reason why I'm playing this game. I think so I went to Complete Strategist. My now Heroclix sensei tried to brush me off, but there was one friend that we had from that day, Miguel Torres, who saw my partner and I sort of looking around, trying to understand the game a little bit. And he said, hey, come sit down with us. Let's, here are some pieces. Let me show you how the game works. And from that moment, I think it was an opening to say, we are a community and we're going to bring you in. And I think women need to experience that more, and seeing other women playing this game could do that turn for us. So at our venue, there's an 11-year-old girl, Kiara, who's super adorable. I love her. But she'll come to play if I'm judging, and I this is the kind of welcoming vibe that I want to give to all of our players, especially our women players. So representation and having women at venues is important. But I think also this game has such a steep learning curve, even with the new rules, that you need to have a lot of time put aside to obsess over this game, to at least learn it well enough to feel like you're decent. And so I think it has to do with a lot of what folks' hobbies are and how much time they have to devote to a game, especially when they're learning in the first year or so.
Okay, very cool. All right, Sam, it is your turn. Do you where do you think all the female Heroclix players are?
They're in Canada.
They're in Canada. That's a good answer.
I mean, that's right? That's the correct answer. I mean, they're up north. No, I mean, like I said, I'm like the one female in like this region. I mean, I think there's a few like casual players. Like, I know that some of the people that come to tournaments, they'll say, oh yeah, we have this like new girl that's coming in, and she's like a little girl and she's trying to learn. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to like, here's my contact if they want to talk. I met a girl at Gen Con. I played her. I mean, like, it was her first tournament. Like, I mean, I stretched. I mean, I don't want to say like I stretched out the game, but I mean, like I basically told her how to like do her turns because like she was like, I don't really know how to do stuff, and I was like, okay, I'll tell you how to do this, and then like at the end, like I won, but then we went back and played it again, and she played a little different. She's like, oh my gosh, thanks so much for teaching me. I don't think that sometimes she feels a little intimidated with the guys, but like every time I see like a girl playing, I try to like. Either if it's on Twitch, like if she's like there was a girl playing at the Denver Majestics, like I immediately got on to the Twitch. I immediately told Pat like tell her I'm reading her on, let's do this. Like I try to like I don't know. I just wish there was more around here. I don't know how to get one around here either. So
yeah, it's tough.
It's just a hard. You have a lot of girls that read comic books and are into the magic and are into like different games, but it's just like Nancy said, it's a very complex game that you have to learn in a short period of time if you want to be sort of relevant or just like if you don't want to just show up and just keep getting beat because then you just pick it up and you're just like I'm done with this.
Yeah.
So it's a very complex game. I think just. I don't know. Like, I try to tell the guys, like, hey, bring your wives, bring your girlfriends, like.
Same.
And it's hard.
Yeah. We'll go to Amber for the same question, and then I'll go because I'm pretty much going to echo what you guys said anyway. So, Amber, it's your turn. Same question.
So with this, like. I do have to laugh with Sam saying that all the female players are in Canada. We do actually have a fair amount here. So aside from myself, Nancy has mentioned Asia, who is out of Ottawa. And then, of course, the most prolific female player, Patricia Lamb, she's Canadian. I do believe she's living in Buffalo now, but she is Canadian.
She's always going to be like she can live in Texas and she's still Canadian.
She's still Canadian. And then my own teammate Emily, who has just been amazing, and she's been like cleaning up the WKO circuit, and she made like top 4, I think, at Canadian Nationals this year. And she's done amazing. But yeah, even over like the 16 years that I've been playing this. There's almost always been another girl in our play group or that I've come across. And like even when we did Age of Ultron, I went to a brand new venue in like this little small town in between big major towns, and there was a young girl who was playing, and we were in the finals of that tournament against each other. So like I've always come across a few other female players, but I find Nancy kind of had hit the nail on the head there, and the fact that this game does have a very steep learning curve, and it is also a game that has been around for 16 years. And as much as we want new players, like even if we were to look at struggling venues and be like, how do you get new players regardless of gender? They're still struggling to get new players because this game isn't always as new player friendly as we want it to be. We get starter kits once, maybe twice a year. So many of our resources are, hey, go online to this website to find the things you need to know. And you don't always have players that have the time to sit down and teach somebody this game. And you can't just sit down one afternoon and play a game and, oh, okay, I now know how to play this game for life. Like, it takes multiple run-throughs to learn how to play the game. So even if we take away the gender factor to it, getting new players in general is a hard thing to do for this game. The other thing that I do find is needing the motivation behind it and finding out what that person would find interesting about the game. What's your favorite character? Who do you want to play? What do you like about comic books? Because so much, ever since we started the channel, I've had countless people be like, hey, thank you so much for doing this channel. Now my wife wants to play. Now my girlfriend wants to play because she's seeing another woman play. but then they play for a little bit and then she's done. And I found that if they're playing just because their husband or boyfriend wants them to, it's not because they want to. It's, okay, well, I'll just please my significant other for as long as I can. And we had a girl at our venue where she came because her boyfriend and his best friend got really into it. But she played like 2 or 3 games and she's like, I don't like this game. I don't want to do it anymore. I was only doing it because they wanted me to. Mm-hmm. And I find I come across that attitude a lot where they're okay to play like home games, but they don't want to go out to tournaments because they're just doing it to, I don't want to say appease their husbands, but to an extent it is they're picking up the game because their husband's so into it. Yeah, they want to share that with you.
Yeah, you always, when you're in a relationship, you want to try to share interest, in what they're into, even if it's not something, you're into. Like, I don't want to go look at a flower garden show, but if my wife says, hey, can we go do this? Like, yeah, that's what I'm going to go do, and I'm going to do my best to have a good time. So I think it's going to be like that type of thing. But like you said, that doesn't last very long. Like, you might be able to go do that once or twice, and then after that, they're going to be like, this isn't for me. I've noticed, like I said, I've been judging at a venue that's now my home venue. He's only been open for like 4 months, and I've been the judge the whole time. We have one female player right now, so I'm really happy about that. And what we did, since we have a lot of new players, is I sort of paired everybody up like big brother, big sister style, because there were some experienced players that came also from another venue that I used to play at. So we just paired a new player with an experienced player. And they could like sort of help them coach, and that's who they played against for the first couple tournaments. And basically they were helping them with their teams to try to get them to keep coming back, because they're not, the venue's not going to have any tournaments if we can't, produce people. And then for people that don't know, before the show started, we were really trying hard to get Mrs. Clicksflix on here to tell you guys about her perspective, because she does all my graphics work and stuff like that. So she really likes doing that, but she doesn't like to play. She has a casual observation of comic books. I tried to get her to play a couple times, and it came back to like what all you three said, was that it was the learning curve. And I did everything I could to slow it down for her, and she was just like, you know what, I got other things to do. It's cool that you like it, but this just isn't for me. So I think if maybe she tried to play and we were doing like the big brother, big sister style format where somebody was like really helping her, that would help. But I think the learning curve's just daunting. I don't care that it says that it's for 14 and up. There's only one minor that can really play this game and play it well. Other than that, it's like a bunch of 30-year-olds that sometimes you're like, do you even know the rules? Because they're just that complicated. So I really think that the learning curve, and then sometimes they just don't don't know that you can play your favorite character. I think that's I forget who said it about that, just trying to hook them with their favorite character. Like, they might not know that Cheetah, Wonder Woman's bad guys, like somebody that you can play, and if that's like their favorite comic book character, like here's 3 versions of her, so do what you want with that. So that's just my perspective.
The last element of this that we haven't really talked about is, yes, liking comic books and liking characters, that's important, but you need to like competitive games like this, right? Yes. The point of this game is to KO figure and essentially KO the other team, right? I don't care what gender, right? If you don't like that, this is not going to be a game that's sustainable for you. And
that's actually a really good point, because like Emily knows nothing about comics.
Yep.
Doesn't read comics, but she got really into the competitive spirit of the game and the strategy and everything that got into it, and that's why she plays it, and she's like top ranking right now. So it's like you don't necessarily need a love of comic books. It helps certain people. And like we were saying, with hooking someone on their favorite character, but also just the spirit of playing a competitive tabletop game, that needs to be there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you have somebody that's very non-confrontational, it's going to be hard to talk them into a game where confrontation is basically the core of it.
Anger management isn't real.
What's that?
that anger management is real.
Yes.
Especially when you roll a crit miss with a 15 attack.
Yes.
You know?
It's hurtful when that happens.
Or you prod into it.
Oh, it's horrible. It's those times you just like you think about like, okay, I'm gonna count to 10. Take breaths.
Try not to flip this table.
Try not to just go all like freaking, Hulk version on this table, and I mean, like, yeah, it's for reals. It's a different mindset. I completely agree with what Nancy just said. So
okay, yeah, that was some good insight. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, but that's a good look there. All right, so we pretty much already covered it, but we're gonna just, if you were gonna find, like, if somebody was kind of interested in Heroclix and you thought you could talk them into it, what would be your 1 minute pitch to try to get them to play? So we started with Nancy last time, so we'll start with Sam for this one. Like, if you had 1 minute and you were like to try to get somebody to play this game and you thought they'd like it, what would your pitch be?
Like, would they be in person with me or like on like away? Would they be near me?
In person with you, yeah.
Well, first I would not take them to my local venue on a Thursday night. I would say, come to my house and I will teach you how to play.
Good answer.
No, I mean, I would just say that I would just pitch that, it's a competitive game, but it's also a very fun game. It's very complex, but it's fun, and it's not as, I don't know, I want to use competitive because it is competitive, but there's different sides of competitive. There's the meta competitive, and then there's just fun competitive. So I would mostly just say, hey, I need to meet with you one-on-one, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay.
But
all right, you have me talked into it. So we'll go. Nancy, you can go next. What's your 1 minute pitch? If there was a girl like at your shop thinking about playing.
So the truth is, I'm not interested in coercing anyone to play if they're not interested in the elements that we talked about, right? So that's part one. Part two is if they're looking and they seem interested, asking about which one of these characters are their favorite, telling them a little bit about this new set that came out. I think it's a draw that I'm the judge and not just the player, so that they know that there is, some wonderful me corralling this process. And then, as Sam was saying, getting some time to spend with, any new player really, but a female player, sure, to teach them the rules in the right way. So by that I mean, when I started dabbling in Heroclix, it was a mess. I just mixed up all the rules, and the game was so fast with all the 70 traits you had on one card, not being able to see the dial, that it was just a really complicated time and a complex time to get into the game. But I think if you start phase by phase and be really intentional about teaching new players, maybe that'll get them to the point where they say, okay, I can play a game with just maybe select powers or no special powers, and then move on from there, and maybe help them find a feel for winning if possible. So at our venue, we try to put the newbies together so that the newbies aren't playing the sharks, because that's not fun at all. And I find that new players like the Battle Royale format because it gives them some time to think while other players are taking turns.
Yeah, and I've noticed too with the Battle Royale format, like there's, we always throw out this term of fellowship. It seems like people almost have like it's almost like, pina colada time when you're doing Battle Royales. Like everybody's just having a good time, laughing and giggling. And, that is actually the one time I had a Battle Royale. We had the venue that I'm at, we had, for some reason, he ordered like the old Incredible Hulk gravity feed, like the primer sets, and he had that and some Captain America Civil War, and I was like, here, let's get rid of these. So we did that sealed, and that's how I hooked like the new people, and the one girl that plays there is they had a blast playing the Battle Royale, and I think that is probably the way to go, because then, like, we had 8 people that day. So it was like you're playing and then you get 7 people that are genuinely trying to help you and just having a good time. And it's, you know, when you're having fun, it's easy to want to go back.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yep. All right. So Amber, same question.
I think with me, when I have like newer players approaching it, kind of looking into it, I really like kind of leaning towards the fun factor and like the crazy what if factor, where like, for example, I had a game last weekend where we were playing just like a bunch of gravity feeds together, and an like legitimate sentence I said, and it's like, all right, zombie Abraham Lincoln is gonna punch this pterodactyl to death. And I find that like the fact that that is something that you can legitimately say in Heroclix can help bring in the newer players with like just how ridiculous and crazy like the fun factor of the game can be. Of, hey, have you ever wanted to watch like Superman or get beat up by a Ninja Turtle? Because this can happen. Like, we're gonna see Thanos get taken down by the Shredders. Like, when you actually kind of stage it in that way of like an actual like living interactive comic book, as long as you're talking to a comic book fan, that can be a lot of fun to just kind of drag people in. And I don't know if the clip has gone around and round and round and round. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but there is an episode of Whose Line Is It Anyways that Scott Porter was on, and he does an entire song and dance about Heroclix. And it's like, you gotta just add in the fun factor of, and one of the easiest thing is that's gone around forever is that it's superhero chess. And that's what it is. You take your superheroes, you move them around the board, and they get to beat up on each other.
Yeah, no, good pitch. I like it. All right, so we are down to our last question, and then we're going to get out of here. And we're going to start with Amber. What is your favorite Heroclix of all time? It does not have to be a meta figure, just something you like playing. It can be a meta figure if you want it to be, but you know, just what is your favorite? Like, you think about playing it and you smile.
I think I have a very special place in my heart for the Days of Future Past Wolverine. And this is the one that came in the Days of Future Past gravity feed. Because if it wasn't for his point value, which was at the time where points were incredibly overcosted, so he's almost impossible to put on a team nowadays. But he was like the quintessential Wolverine, where he actually got +1 to his attack and defense for each person that was adjacent to him. And so he became beastly the more people he was engaged with. Every other click, he had an ability to heal back onto those clicks. So it's like, as long as he wasn't taking a huge amount of like pulse wave damage, he was basically he was staying alive, and he was beefy. And like, my only problem with it was that he's too many points. But I feel like that probably still gonna be like my favorite Heroclix. There's ones where I go through phases where I'm like, I'm gonna put this character on every team, and it drives Jason crazy. And
I'm the same way. Like, I build my teams basically, and I'm like, I'm gonna put this on my team no matter what.
But yeah, there's probably like my all-time. That one's up there.
Very cool. And that one has a cool sculpt too. That one has like the piece of broken stuff
got
on
the wanted posters.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I remember that one. I liked it too. All right, Nancy, you're up on favorite Heroclix figure of all time.
This is my favorite question. No, I'm kidding. This podcast is awesome. I have 3 favorites. One is, of course, I can't imagine that it's not everyone's favorite, but it's the 6-arm Ultron, who is bananas. Super bananas in the middle with the 3 close combat attacks. And also probably one of the coolest Heroclix figures I saw when I started getting into the game. Second is the Zatanna with the bunny Constantine.
Oh, yeah.
Because horrible roller, the 2 props are awesome, but also bunny Constantine. He still has his tie on. Did y'all know that? Bunny Constantine has his tie on. So check that out.
That's awesome.
And lastly, it's Brew from Xavier School. Brew is probably one of my most beloved characters, and I think the sculpt and the dial is very appropriate for him. So he's super cute and cuddly to begin with, and then he's super vicious with his two stop clicks. So I think WizKids did such a great job with that brew.
Oh, very cool. All good picks. I like that 6-arm Ultron. I had to play against him one time in Sealed. It wasn't fun, but the sculpt looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Sam, it is your turn. Same question.
So I mean, you guys know I love Wonder Woman. I know it's just out there. And my favorite piece of all time is Red Sun Wonder Woman.
Yes.
She was like I said, I started getting into the game kind of like real heavily in Superman, Wonder Woman, and I pulled her twice in 2 sealed events. And it was like a sign. I was like, this is an amazing figure. She was on my first meta team. On my first tournament, I basically was like, hey, I want to play her on my team. And Dan was like, then build a team. And I built a team. I think I went like 2-2 with her. I mean, I just wish I could have made her work to do better. But like overall, I just love to play her in any fun event that I can. I wish that she had outwit protection. But that's... I guess, she can't be power cosmic, but overall, she's just my favorite. I'll say it. Any podcast I do, she's always my favorite.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good pick. So for me, my favorite of all time is probably, it's gonna be a 3-way tie, and one of them is 2 of the same character. So Smoky Foot Cap from Hammer of Thor. He was a rare. He was just really good. He could do some cool things with his shield. Whenever I think of a Captain America figure, that's the one I always think of. And, man, I ran him forever. That's most of the time I just keep Modern Age figures. And I hung on to that figure forever after it retired. But that was just awesome. I really loved that one. And then the other one is Multiple Man from, what was the first X-Men one? Well, he was in Wolverine and the X-Men, and then he was in the first X-Men one with the giant size X-Men. Both versions of them where you could just bring in like the other version, you could bring in more Multiple Men when he got hit. I really like that mechanic, and I've always found Multiple Man interesting in the comics, so it's just a cool way to play him, and I don't know, it was real niche-y, and I'm kind of drawn to those kind of figures, and I've just never gotten over my love for those.
So James,
those
real
two
quick.
Multiple Men.
Hey James, real quick.
Yeah.
When you talk about Multiple Men, my first Origins, I played in a side event, and I played like it was last round, like we were near the bottom table, and I sat across from a guy, and he had like 50 Multiple Men on his team. And I'm like, what the heck? I mean, like, he had like 25 on the map. And I'm like, what the heck? Lots of them. I'm like, what the crap is going on? And he's like, you'll find out. I'm like, I guess I will. So, like, I go up at Hulk, and, like, I'm just like, smash, smash. And then he's like, bringing out more. I mean, I think the whole map was covered with Multiple Men. Like, I was not getting away from any of these.
Oh, that's awesome. I loved him. He was like a trolley figure. I just liked him.
Oh, it was amazing. I remember going to, like, Daniel and the guys. I'm like, how many Multiple Men do we have, and how do I get more? Like, can we order more so I can then, like, run this team at our events, Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, he's not even one of my favorite comic characters. I just was really drawn to that figure for some reason, so... all right, so now we are at the end of the episode, so everybody go ahead and plug whatever it is you need to plug, and that'll be the wrap-up for our show. So we're going to go in reverse order, so Sam, you're going to go ahead and go again. Where can people find you, and I guess that's it. That's the only thing I had to say.
So again, I'm Sam Powell. I'm part of Team Clickstuff. We're located here in Southern Indiana, but we have teammates all over the world, all over the country. And we have a Facebook page on Facebook, the podcast discussion group. Join us there for any discussions. We also have a podcast that's on SoundCloud and Podbean and iTunes, I believe. And then we also have a Twitch channel and a YouTube channel. So go on there, subscribe. I know some of our teammates go on Twitch and play some online games. Daniel does some YouTube videos with some new, sets and characters and stuff like that. So if you have any questions, you just go to our Facebook page and you'll have anything answered for you. So.
Yeah, I was going to say your Facebook page is awesome.
Yeah, the guys really work really hard on it. So I'm just kind of like a back scene person to a lot of this click stuff. But yeah, the guys really do work hard, and they try to involve a lot of people in the community and get the word out. And like I said, if you have any questions, Heroclix related and or WizKids related, they're usually the first people to respond and to get the answers and get the discussion going.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. All right, Nancy, so where can people find you if they want to see more of you? I don't know why well, the thing, it wasn't clicking
Go
over.
to Brooklyn?
So, yeah.
So again, I'm Nancy Yang, New York City. I am running our first WKO at the Geekery HQ. It's in Queens, New York, November 17th. That's also my birthday weekend. So it would be a really good birthday present to come out and play with us. The games will be really reasonably priced. The store owner is super great about just getting as much price support in to support our players as possible. And I do want to give a shout out to all the Heroclix players that brought me into this game. It's why I love it so much, including all of the New York City Heroclix players, of course. I mentioned my Heroclix sensei, Errol Hanna, Antonio Clark, who's taught me so much about this game, Mac McConnell, who's been really gracious about teaching me different things in terms of judging and coordinating a venue, and of course my partner Rob, who is the ultimate collector, as you can see, and he's allowed it so that I can really play any piece that I want up to a certain extent.
That's awesome. I've been jealous for a full hour and a half of like what's going on in the background back there. I'm like, I gotta step up my Heroclix storage area here to just get on your level.
I'm purposely not showing Daniel this video.
Oh my God.
He does not see your room. I want to do that because we have a whole room, but it's like we have everything in like boxes and like organized, but we have the colossals up. But I can see him being like, we're going to Menards this weekend and we're buying shelves and no.
Oh yeah, we did a huge shopping spree and continue to do shopping sprees at the Container Store to get the shelving stuff that we need for this set. So yeah, Rob will be thrilled to hear that.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, Amber, so it's your turn. Go ahead and plug your omnipresence online.
Yeah. So primarily you guys can find me, and actually more regularly, at Married with Clicks, YouTube. We are also on Facebook. We have our regular Facebook page, as well as our Married with Clicks community page, where everybody could just talk and post anything they want about Heroclix. And we're also on Twitter. I'm the one that run our Twitter account, and I kind of use it as my regular Twitter account, so you'll probably see a lot of stuff pop up about Resident Evil, because that's just a big thing right now for me. Because right now Twitter is doing this thing where it's like, oh, this person you followed liked this tweet, so you'll probably see all of that stuff show up and be like, what is going on with this? Yeah, that's me. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so we're getting back to actually putting up videos every day. We're going to start doing that. We have 3 live shows a week, a bunch of pre-recorded, edited content. I do a couple of different shows. I've got Dial It Up that focuses on rules. I do have Casual Corner, where I just kind of talk about clicks. We're starting to film games again. And we also have a series that we're going to try and get Steam behind again, and that is where we are teaching our 10-year-old daughter how to play the game. So it's good for beginners to go in. It's very bare bones, very basic, more instructional games that we're doing there.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. And you guys have a Patreon also, right?
Yes, we do. Patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. And actually, any level of donation gets you access to our patron exclusive Discord, our patron exclusive Hangout, which will not be this weekend because it's Canadian Thanksgiving. But also me and Jason are going to a wrestling show on Sunday, so we're not going to be home. So it will be Sunday, October 14th will be our next Hangout. And it'll be just like this where as long as you have access to the internet and at least a mic, you can just sit down with us and talk about Heroclix for usually about 2 to 3 hours. And then higher up, we do also offer early access to our videos as well as action tokens from our friends over at Big Bully Gaming Accessories.
They're on the way, Nance.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess it's my turn now. I run Mr. Clicksflix on YouTube. That's Mr. Clicks. youtube.com/MrClicksFlix. I do 2 uploads a week. Sometimes I sneak in some extra ones there if it's a productive week for me. I'm also on Facebook. There's a Mr. Clicksflix Facebook group. I'm on Twitter at Mr. Clicksflix, and I also have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/MrClicksFlix. I do a monthly giveaway. I also have a Discord server. I have a monthly hangout that I just started, so I'm not nearly as good at it as Married with Clicks. But I look to get there. And
we've only been doing it for 2 years. Don't worry.
Yeah. And I also give away tokens, three exclusive tokens every month, if you're at that particular level. So go check that out. Every little bit helps because YouTube doesn't really pay the bills just with the ads. So if you really want to help somebody, throw them $1 a month for Patreon. And make sure to support all these other ladies on here as best you can at their various places that they told you to go to. That's all I have for you guys today. As always, please remember that it's only critical miss if you don't have probability control.